Hello, beautiful souls, and welcome back or welcome to my podcast, Rewire to Inspire. I am your host, Jessie Brown, and I am so excited to actually be jumping on the microphone with you all for episode number 230. If you missed my last episode, the audio was a little iffy, and that's because I didn't have a microphone or really anything to help increase the sound. So thank you for bearing with me through episode number 229, where I shared with you all the importance of interrupting your excuses and to stop allowing your excuses to win. As I shared on that episode, I got myself into a bit of a pickle and I didn't have my microphone with me and I needed to record, and so I tried to make the best of a not so ideal situation. And so again, I know the audio on that episode isn't ideal. I also didn't have video, but we are back today for number 230 and I could not be more excited to have all my equipment to actually be set up and ready to go. I am actually super extra excited today because I am about to leave to go to a little town that's about an hour and a half away from me because I'm speaking at an event tomorrow, a mental health event, and I'm just really excited. I'm also kind of nervous, which I haven't been nervous to speak in a really long time, and so this is kind of giddy excitement because I'm speaking to students from all over the province that I live in New Brunswick. And I'm just kind of nervous, but I'm also equally as excited. So I know that it is aligned and it is meant for me, but I'm just really excited to go have this experience. And it's also gorgeous where I live today. The sun is shining. I got to get out on my lunch break. I went and did a 6K walk/run and it was absolutely beautiful. So my cup is pretty full and I'm really excited because my partner's coming with me. We get a little night away and I'm just excited to spend some quality time with him and also have that event tomorrow. So nonetheless, I'm really excited to be jumping on here, recording today's episode. Today's episode surfaced because I think it's really important that we revisit the things that we're doing in life with intentionality. Actually taking a step back from the things we're doing and analyzing if they're truly making us happy. It can become so easy to fall onto a default pattern and just start doing things because we've gotten in the cycle of doing them. But perhaps because we don't take a step back and we don't realize sometimes that things are affecting us, we can end up really affecting our mental health and our well-being and our mood because the things we're doing aren't actually making us happy anymore. And so I thought that that was really important to talk about and to normalize that it's okay if things that used to bring you a lot of joy and happiness don't anymore. Because perhaps you've stepped into a new version of you. Perhaps circumstances are different. You've grown, whatever. And it's important that you give yourself permission that it's okay to take a step back from things, especially if they aren't making you happy. And so I wanted to provide you guys some self-reflection questions that you can ask yourself to make sure the things that you're doing are truly making you happy and are making you the best version of yourself. Again, speaking from my own experiences, I've been looking at my life of not only what am I doing, is it making me happy, but what are the things that make me happy that I'm not doing? It's so important that we ask ourselves both sides of the coin of that question, because we could be saying that, yeah, sure, the things in our life make us happy and they're okay, but are we making capacity and making room for the things that really make us happy and really bring us joy and spark you? I've realized I've had such a disconnect, and I preach on this podcast self-love, mental health, trauma healing, inner child healing, rewiring how our youth view mental health and having tough conversations. And I've been at a place where I haven't been practicing what I preach. And my self-love has taken a hit, and my relationship with myself, my relationship with my podcast, and with my online platform and social media and all these things has taken a hit because there's certain areas that truthfully don't really make me the happiest anymore. And the way that I got to that conclusion was through asking myself these questions. And the first question that I had wrote down is what you're doing sustainable? Whether, again, that is your job, a hobby, a career, whatever, is what you are doing sustainable? Meaning, Is this something that you can stick with consistently and it's not going to burn you out? It's going to be something that is manageable, duplicable over time. If it's not something that's going to be sustainable, I would beg to differ that it's probably not going to make you super happy in the long run. Or maybe you're at the point now where it's already not making you super happy. For an example, if I had jumped to 2 episodes to 5 episodes a week, maybe 1 week out of the year, that would be possible. But for the rest of the weeks, that wouldn't be sustainable. I would burn out, my podcast would crumble to the ground, and it would cease to exist. And so I had to find my own sweet spot. And so sometimes it's also looking at that. Are you giving too much in a certain area? And is that level of commitment or energy, time, money, whatever you're investing into something, is that level sustainable? It's so important we ask ourselves these questions, especially when we're going all in on a new goal or a new business or a new hobby. We pour and pour and pour and we give and give and give, and then we burn out. We reach a maximum. And so it's important to ask, is what you're doing sustainable? Because it also allows you to revisit your plan, to go back to the whiteboard and redraw your process. Because if the answer to that question is no, it's not sustainable, the second question you can ask is there a way that you can shift what you're doing to make it more sustainable? Like I said, by investing less time, investing less money, investing less energy. Sometimes less is more if it can make it more sustainable and you're able to stick with it more consistently. But if what you're doing is, you can already tell in your intuition and in your consciousness that it's not going to last forever, is it worth your time? Is it something that if you don't even see yourself doing it in a year, depending what it is, obviously, but is it worth your time now if you don't believe that it's going to exist or matter in a year's time? So that's the first question. The second one is, are you proud to talk about it? And this one can be really hard depending where you're, and this is also such a broad spectrum of things, but I really want you to focus on the things that you're doing and investing your time into. Are you proud to talk about it? When I first started my podcast, I was so quiet about it. Somebody would ask and I'd be like, oh yeah. Super awkward. I wasn't sure of myself yet. I didn't identify as a podcaster yet, so it was really hard to talk about. What are the things in your life that when you're by yourself doing them, you love them and it sparks joy and it makes you happy, but in front of others, you have a really hard time being proud of it? It's going to be hard to truly be happy with something if you don't feel that you can share that excitement with other people. And yes, again, we have things that we just need to enjoy for ourselves that bring us happiness. But are there things in your life that are taking up a huge chunk of your time that you can't honestly say you're proud of? And also dive into why that is. Is there a block there of self-love? Is there a block there of just self-validation? Why is it hard for you to say you're proud of yourself? Is there lack of belief? Is there lack of worth? Where is that resistance coming from? Because until you get to a place where you can say you're proud of the things that you're doing, even if they're sloppy, even if you're in the beginning, even if you don't have the results that you aspire to have, it's still important to be able to say that you're proud of yourself for putting in the work and doing something. Next question. Do you feel more fulfilled and energized after you do said thing? I know that there's times that I jump on this microphone and I'm like, I have nothing in me to give. Even today, I'm really excited. My cup is full. I've been really, really struggling to show up to the microphone. But I know that every single time that I do, I feel more fulfilled and I feel more energized. Those are 2 huge key indicators that what you are doing is in alignment for you. It is meant to be in your life in some way, shape, or form. Think of even the people that you surround yourself with. If they make you feel more fulfilled and energized after you hang out with them, that's a really good sign that those people are meant for you. But if you find yourself feeling depleted, sad, empty, lost, like kind of regretful of investing your time, I would bet that those people or things aren't what's best for you. Things should nourish and fill your soul with happiness and light. When we are living in our truest power and in our dharma, right? Our soul's purpose, and we're living in that high energetic joy frequency, we feel our best. And it means that something is right for us. We cannot feel a high frequency in an area in which is not meant for us. It will naturally dim our light. And you know those feelings, and you've felt those feelings before. I'm sensing that in some areas of my life where I just feel like my light's kind of dimmed a little bit. And I have to ask myself the hard questions of, is this meant for me? Is my intuition picking up on something that I'm not? Am I staying in these circumstances because I'm scared of the unknown? All things that we all do, we stay where it feels safe. But if you notice yourself feeling depleted and not energized, not inspired, not creative, not yourself, not passionate, not lit up, whatever that is not meant for you. And the quicker that you can detach yourself, the quicker that you're creating energetic space to allow in the new. I have never seen an exception to this. Any time ever in my life that I've decided to let go of the old, of things that didn't feel great, didn't feel in alignment, didn't uplift me, as soon as I let those go, I just had a flood of amazingness come in. But when we hold on to those things, we're also telling ourselves that's all we're worthy of. This is all I could ever attract, so I'm just going to hold on to this. We put ourselves on the low pedestal and we say that, okay, universe, or whatever it is that resonates with you, this is all I'm willing to accept. This is where I'm going to stay. And then we wonder why we keep getting the same feelings all around us. And this applies in many situations in life. This is your job. This is finances. This is relationships. This is with family. This is with hobbies, career, everything across the board. I might have said career twice, but anyways, it's important that we look at it from that lens. And yes, some days are going to be hard, right? It's like not every time is it going to uplift you. There's going to be hard chapters with anything in life. But you know if the overall theme is depletion or letdown or sadness. And if that is the case, it's never going to make you happy. And in fact, it's likely going to feed into your mental health depleting and really struggling, because when we keep things that aren't meant for us, it lowers our demeanor. Okay, next question. Have you ever imagined your life without it? And how did that make you feel? I've asked myself that question before in many areas of my life, and it's that, and how did that make you feel? Peace that always gives you my answer. Because if you're like, oh, well, I've imagined my life without it, like that must mean it's not meant for me. But if in the how did that make you feel part, you're like, it made me really, really sad. And it made me, like, it was an unacceptable thought for me. Like as soon as I had the thought, I knew like, nope, like that's not realistic. I need to keep this in my life. You will know. Again, your body will tell you. When you're asking your body a question, it holds the truth inside. We interrupt the truth with our conscious mind. Our body is really, really good at telling us when things aren't right. I notice certain times when I'm around certain people, I'll have these unexplainable aches. And oftentimes that's your body's way of like communicating, like, pay attention to me, pay attention, something's off, something's not right. And I just find that when we look at the energy of things, it just speaks volumes, because we're so good at coming in with our stubborn brain, that logic brain that really knows nothing, and it interrupts us from following our truest essence, which is our heart and our intuition and our body. And so when you ask yourself, and how did that make me feel? Your answer lies right there. Ask yourself, is this meant for me? If this were to leave, excuse me, biggest yawn ever. If you were to ask yourself, can I imagine this not in my life? And then you're like, actually, like, I can, and I think it might be really freeing. There's your answer. You don't need to know the what ifs after that. You don't need, and you can say yes while also holding the duality of, it's going to be really hard. It's going to be a challenge, but I think it's what's best for me, right? Sometimes taking those leaps of faith is the best things that we can do. And they're hard and they're scary and they suck. But what's also hard and scary and sucks is being unhappy. There's nothing worse than being unhappy and sad. It is the most energy-sucking thing of life. is just feeling meh all the time. That's not the quality of life we're meant to be living. And these questions are hard to visit because they often give us truths. And when we look in the mirror and we choose to face those hard realities, we have to be willing to also accept the answers. That's why I think so many of us don't ask the questions, is because once we ask and we receive, it's like, crap, well, now I have to do something with this. And then the longer we know in our hearts and intuitions and we still don't do something about it, we just end up feeling worse and worse and worse. Okay, the last one that I have is revisit your why. Why are you doing something? Having a why with anything in life is essential. You need to know why you're doing something. Everything you do in the run of a day should have a why. You should know how it's serving your life. Why do you have that job? Why do you have that partner? Why do you have that friend? Why do you wake up at that time? Like, having a why beneath things that you do allows you to think more critically about your actions. When you're just on autopilot and you're just like bouncing and going with the flow and doing one thing to the next, you don't have reasoning beneath what you're doing. And it's a lot easier to accept the bare minimum and to become lost when you don't know your why. Not knowing your why is also such a disconnect from your higher self and your intuition. Why is it you're doing things? I have a mission that I've set out on my podcast. That's my why that I hold on to. It's so much bigger than me. It is to transform our world's relationship with talking about mental health imperfectly and being okay with being raw and honest and uncomfortable and normalizing talking about anxiety and how much it sucks and how much depression sucks and mental illness and PTSD and eating disorders and suicide attempts, violence, alcoholism, homelessness, all these things. It's like, that's my why. I want to change our relationship with those things to set our world up for a brighter future. What is your why? It needs to be crystal clear. Why do you believe you are here? And I promise you, it is not for the reasons that you might think. In a quick answer, if you've never done or asked yourself this question before, your why is not just to go to work, to save up, to work, to pay bills and then retire. It's like, that's not your why. We all have a purpose here. This is very much like the woo side of me. I truly believe with every ounce of me, we were all put here for a specific mission. We were all put here for a specific reason. There's a reason you're here. You are meant to serve in some way. And serve could be one to many or one to one, right? It's hard to say what that is, but that's for you to figure out. But you will constantly feel like you are not fulfilling something, or something feels like it's missing when you're not fulfilling that why. That is where our purpose comes in. I used to use the word dharma all the time on my podcast, your soul's higher purpose, why you're here. And until we find that and discover that, life is going to feel questionable. There's 3 P's that I learned the other day: purpose, pride, and passion. And if we don't have those 3 P's, we will struggle to have happiness. Purpose, pride, what's the other one? Purpose, pride, and passion. When there's areas in my life that I don't have pride, I don't have passion, I don't have purpose, I struggle. My mental health struggles. And so by asking yourself these questions, you can also get clear on those 3 P's in your life. Maybe one of them is missing and oh, that's the missing piece of the puzzle. How can I fill that? I'm someone who has a very, very contemplative mind. I like to think about things and analyze things and ask myself the hard questions and go within. And that's truly what I try to vocalize on my podcast, is sharing those experiences with you, providing you with tools of things that I've gone through and experienced myself that have helped me. And I know that it's hard to accept if things in your life that you're doing aren't actually making you happy, what the other side of that could look like. Because that's scary. No one talks, it's like, get rid of the things no longer serving you and like make room for the new, which I know is kind of what I'm saying, but also normalizing that's effing hard. That's scary. Our brain does not like the unknown. doesn't like new, it doesn't like sudden change. It likes predictability, and it likes when things are comfortable. And when we take those opportunities to step away from things, it's gonna feel scary, it's gonna be intimidating, it's gonna feel overwhelming, and I don't want to lie to you and say that it's not, because it is, and I want to be truthful about that. But I also promise you that it is worth it. Choosing you and choosing what's right for you, and only you know what that is, will always be worth it. You have to be willing to do the hard things and to answer the tough questions, to pivot your life, to set your life up for happiness. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. I hope that you take some time to brainstorm, to reflect, take some time to analyze the things in your life. Are they actually making you happy? Or are you just telling yourself a story to convince yourself that they are? A very hard question to ask yourself, but one that could change your life for the better. If you enjoyed this episode, it would mean the world to me if you could share it with somebody that you think would enjoy. All the love, seriously, from my heart to yours. I am so grateful for each and every one of you who take the time to tune in every Tuesday and Thursday. This would not be possible without you guys, and I'm just so grateful, and I am so excited to chat with you all on Tuesday. Bye, you guys.